Hold up. Hold up.
Good evening. I am Tanisha Laverne Grand, reporting live from the purple carpet at the Paley Center for Media in Beverly Hills, California, for an iconic conversation between two iconic women in Hollywood, two iconic black women in Hollywood, Phylicia Rashad and Lynn Whitfield. Phylicia Rashad came to fame in the 1980s for her amazing role as Claire Huxtable with The Cosby Show, and Lynn Whitfield catapulted to success with her 1990 role as Josephine Baker in The Josephine Baker Story, for which she won an Emmy for and was nominated for a Golden Globe. Tonight, the Paley Center will reflect on the amazing careers of both of these women. So stay tuned because I get to have conversations with both of them. Tanisha Laverne Grant, blackinamerica.com. Good evening. I am Tanisha Laverne Grant, live on the purple carpet at the Paley Center for Media in Beverly Hills with this woman, the first three words that come to my head: grace, beauty, and elegance. Your career, I first came to know you in the 80s. I used to beg my aunts and my grandmother and my mom, I'm like, can I please watch Brewster's Place? Can I see? I need to see Brewster's Place. That was such an amazing, powerful cast. It was Cicely Tyson, Oprah Winfrey, the late
Paula
Dr.
Kelly.
Maya Angelou. Yeah.
Yes, Lynetta McKee. It was an incredible cast of women, and I think it was one of Oprah's first miniseries, and it was such a statement about women in a neighborhood and women pulling together, and it was such a variety of women, such a diverse group, and each and every character had a character drive, had a great story.
You guys were so fierce. In the spirit of the late Dr. Maya Angelou, what is like one of the lessons you learned from her at that time working on that production?
Well, one of the things I learned from Dr. Angela was much later, but I was her surprise at a luncheon for the United Negro College Fund, or it was a fund, and I was a surprise because of the way I do Still I Rise. And so I was nervous as all get out. And I had to say to her, well, Dr. Angela, they wanted me to be your surprise, but I'm very nervous to tell you that this poem that you've done that is so dignified, I do as a low-down gut bucket, nasty, stank blues.
See, now I got you go and Google this. Oh my, is it on YouTube anywhere?
Actually, it is somewhere. And so, because you can write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You can try me in the very dirt, but still like dust I rise. And she said, I wrote it as a blues.
Wait a minute, what? See, this is why I love this job. Are you serious?
She said, yes, because it is in a blues cadence. So there was that, and on that same day, we were taking pictures. She was in her wheelchair, and I went to kneel down to take a picture with her. She said, don't ever bow to anyone. You stand tall, and when you see that picture, you'll thank me for it. And when I saw it, and she died like a year and a half later, I was so happy because she was in her wheelchair and she was looking, and it was everything. I know you don't have time for all that, but you asked me something that really touches my heart.
I'm so glad I did. I just want to ask one last question. The 1991 film, The Josephine Baker Story, really helped catapult your career in film. What was that like playing this icon? I mean, Josephine Baker, the late Josephine Baker. I mean, she was an activist, revolutionary.
She was an activist, a revolutionary, a fabulous dancer. She was sassy. She broke new ground. Any artist, any entertainer now, woman, has had to have looked at things that she did because she was just so incredible. Such a showwoman. For that to be entrusted to my instrument was a huge honor and a huge responsibility, and I loved every minute of it. It's so rare. I mean, more now than then, but for sure then that a black woman was in almost every frame of a film.
And you won an Emmy for
Every
that.
and I won an Emmy for that, and a Golden Globe nomination, and fell in love with the director, and married, and had a beautiful baby girl.
Grace, I've interviewed your daughter a few
Yes,
times.
and so it was such a great turning point. It was very, very exciting.
Wow. What do you want to say to actresses today who are so preoccupied with the social media and getting the photos and the images and the glitz and the glamour? What do you want to say to them just in terms of, reshifting the direction back to the work, always to the craft?
Well, I think you have something to say to them.
But I think they'll take it better from a working actress
Well-
than they would from,
Well, what I feel, and social media is great because it's now how everyone is platformed. They look to see how many followers you have before they give you a
Right,
job.
right.
So, I can understand wanting to build up your followers and all of that. The thing that sometimes, no, listen, the thing that sometimes is a little bit annoying is that you can be having a wonderful moment like we're having now. We're having a real conversation. We are having a real conversation, y'all. And you're having a real conversation, and then people say, can we take a selfie? And so they stop like this whole human exchange, which is what acting is about, by the way, and to record it. And now it's not just recording it, but then they leave me for another 5 minutes while they airbrush it, fix it to post it, and I'm waiting to get back to this interesting conversation.
Wow.
Or hopefully it was interesting. But anyway, so I kind of steer away from telling people not to do something that they feel that they should be doing or that they're excited about. I just would say that once all of that happens and you have your million followers and you're in front of a camera or on a stage and they say action, it's really about the craft, And that's the part I love. But honestly, they need to tell me about doing more social media.
I hope you. But you have a great following.
They're wonderful, but I haven't talked to them in a while, which I have to do better at that.
We're going to get you on some
You know.
Snapchat and all that stuff. It was so lovely meeting to you. Thank you.
Isn't she beautiful? The most
Love you.
gorgeous bald head I think I've seen
Thank
in
you.
decades.
You're beautiful, elegant as always. I only have time for one question, so I'm going to try and sneak two in. You've had a beautiful career. The pacing of your career has been absolutely wonderful. I want to ask you, what would you say to your younger self today, just in terms of some of the missteps you may have made, some of the opportunities to make some adjustments, some of the things you may have been anxious about in your 20s or 30s or any decade? What would you say to your 45-year-old self?
My 45-year-old self? Child, please.
I love that.
No, not 45-year-old self. No, she was fine.
She was fine.
She was fine. You got to go back. You got to go back.
Let's go to 30.
She was fine too. You got to go back.
Really? See how solid this lady is? Where does that come from? Because some women at 45 still don't have it together, and some women at 30 definitely don't have it together.
Really? Well, I'm a fortunate person. I'm very fortunate to have the parents that I had, to have grown up in the community that I grew up in. And I'm very fortunate to have great teachers. And I'm very fortunate to have grace.
You definitely have that. In this climate, we were talking about the divine feminine and women powering up. We're challenging and taking on different roles in the Hollywood system. This year, you're nominated for an Emmy for This Is Us. Like, that's powerful. Is there a character that you would still like to portray, even with the long career that you've had? I mean, in stage, in film, television, behind the camera, directing, producing. Like, what else is left in the patina for you?
I don't know. When I portrayed Medea, I thought, okay, Euripides Medea. I thought, this is it. And then came August Wilson's Gem of the Ocean, Aunt Esther. I said, well, this is definitely it. But then came Terrell Alva McCraney's Head of Passes, Sheila Reynolds. And I said, well, I don't know what there is, what there could possibly be. But every time I say that, there's always more. There's always something else. I don't always know what it is. So I just have to stay ready.
Well, I know Sean Combs has spoken so well of you. He said you really helped, mold him.
He said that.
Yes, he did.
It's precious.
What would you want to say to him? I mean, he just lost the love of his life, Kim Porter, the mother of his children. What would you want to say to Sean Combs at this time?
Sean is one of the greatest people I ever met. He has a never say die kind of attitude, and it was amazing to watch him work in A Raisin in the Sun. The humility with which he approached the role and the production, the way he gave himself completely to it, just completely. I was taken with him. It was easy to love him. It's amazing. It's easy to love him.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Thank you.